Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another riveting episode of Playing Fighting Fantasy, where today I am actually starting a new book. And for those of you who've been frequent viewers and subscribers to my channel, you will know that it's taken me almost a year and a half to finish my previous book, which I didn't even finish because it took me so long. It was getting a little bit tedious for me, and I do apologize for that. If I'd been able to do a normal video schedule, it would have been easier for me to actually complete the book and actually win the book. That was Phantoms of Fear, but I might revisit it sometime because I really like Phantoms of Fear, and I think it might be worth trying to actually find the correct path through. But just to keep things a little bit fresher for me, maybe more so than for you, because you might be watching this at any time, I'm going to start playing my next book in the series, which is Midnight Rogue. That is Fighting Fantasy book number 29. And just like Phantoms of Fear, this is one of the two books, not this particular copy, one of the two books that I actually bought new back in the day. So what I did was, of course I bought, well, I didn't technically buy Warlock of Firetop Mountain. My mother bought that for me in Norwegian, and that was my first encounter with fighting fantasy. And then I bought the English language books secondhand. All the secondhand bookshops in my hometown, a particular one, and one in particular, had a good selection of these, and you could pick them up for, in those days, it was around £3 was the going rate, I think, if I remember correctly. And a new one would set you back £6 to £7 in a Norwegian bookshop, which was quite a bit more expensive than it would have been in Britain at the time. So I used to buy those secondhand, and then there were a few new books that I saw in the normal bookshops that came out, and I bought Phantoms of Fear and Midnight Rogue, and that was right at the tail end of my interest in fighting fantasy books. The thing is, once you start playing tabletop role-playing games with your friends, playing solo game books isn't as exciting perhaps as what you can sort of do together in a group in a role-playing game. It's a little bit different, the dynamics are different, of course the interaction between people are different, and the way that spurs ideas is different, and of course the open world aspect of it, not part of a linear or semi-linear narrative as you have in almost inevitably in a multiple choice kind of game book. It's quite different, and I think in many ways more fun. But also, I think game books have a lot of merit because, well, sometimes it's just you, isn't it? And it's very exciting. And I do enjoy them actually more now, I think, than I did back in the day, which I have mentioned before as well. Of course, the first one you encounter when you find just the concept of a game book in itself is entirely new. And the thing is, of course, when I discovered Warlock of Firetop Mountain, not only was the concept of a game book new to me, actually the concept of fantasy literature was new to me, and the concept of role-playing games were all new to me. So it was like three things in one go that were entirely novel. Just the setting, the concept of how it worked as a game, and yes, everything was new, and I found that very exciting. Anyway, right, here we are on my desk. I got my supplies ready, as I call them. I got my dice, my pen, my multi pen. I got my map, which is, as you can see right now, as blank as the day it was born. Right, here we are on my desk, and I got my supplies ready, as I like calling them. So I got my book, most important of all, Midnight Rogue. I've got my dice, which I will use to start with, of course. Although you know me, I will ignore them at some point. I've got my multicolored pen, got my character sheet, which is blank, and my map, which is also blank. Always exciting to start with blank sheets of paper. So, now this book takes place in Port Blacksand. I see there's actually a little map here in the beginning with numbers on them as well. Okay. Written by Graham Davis and illustrated by John Civic, this one. And somebody has very helpfully made little tick marks next to which books they own in the series here. I see. Not me. Right. This is your 5th printing. And let's see what we've got. We got the usual, it looks like skill, stamina, and luck. No fancy stuff like power or anything like that in this one. Okay, so skill, stamina, and luck. Let's roll. So 1 die plus 6 is my skill, 11. Which is probably quite serviceable. Stamina, 10 plus 12 is 22. And luck is a little bit on the low side. I'll do another one. Yeah, okay. So all 5s really for my main stats today. Luck 11. Okay. Right. Initial scores, blah, blah, blah. The usual stuff. Cut and paste. Fighting more than one opponent. Using luck in battles. It looks like it's all pretty standard. Provisions. Your backpack contains provisions for 10 meals, it says here. So I've already got provisions. Some books, of course, you don't have provisions, or it's part of the story that you find provisions, which I actually think I prefer. That's part of the narrative. Okay, and each one is 4. That's fine. Okay, like potions. You start your adventure with the following equipment, and this is actually more precise than it usually is. It says a short sword, a leather jerkin and leggings, a backpack, hand lamp made of a small pot of fat with a string wick. This gives you enough light to see by in most circumstances without giving yourself away. A torch, a tinderbox for lighting your lamp and torch, 5 gold pieces, enough provisions for 10 meals. And in addition to this equipment, the Thieves Guild supplies you with a magic potion. You may choose 1 potion from the following list. So this is actually more precise than usual. I must make a note of the what I've got, because since it is so precise, maybe there are chances of you to lose these things and to have need of these things after losing them. I'm just guessing wildly now. So just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to make a little note of it. So we've got a short sword. And so jerkin and leggings. Probably won't lose those. I mean, I suppose it is possible somebody robs you and steals you blind and takes all your stuff. Backpack, we're not going to put that. So hand lamp. Torch. Tinderbox. And gold pieces. I'll just put that at the top here because that's something that tends to change quite a bit through a game. And then the provisions, of course. So, and also a potion of something. So I'm going to put... So, skill, stamina, and luck. Usually it's stamina or luck that tends to be the ones you need the most. Because, I mean, if you especially if you don't follow the optimum path through a game book, you may be subject to more luck rolls than you otherwise would have been, and so your luck tends to go down and down. Otherwise stamina, of course, because you which is strangely called Potion of Strength, which would have been made more sense just call it Potion of Stamina. Right. Skill, something you usually don't lose. Of course, when you lose it, it is a lot more crucial to regain it because it has so much a bigger bearing on how you fare in an adventure than any other stat. Really. I'm going to go to Potion of Fortune. Usually that is a good bet. Anyway, right. So then I am ready to go, I think. Oh, hang on. There's one more thing here. There are more rules. Okay, so this is actually interesting. Okay, so during the course of your adventure, you will have the opportunity to pick up a wide range of things, some of which may be useful to you later on in your adventure. As a thief, you have to be able to move quickly and quietly at all times, so you must be careful not to encumber yourself with too many items. You may never carry more than 6 items in your backpack at any time. Your provisions count as one item, and your potion counts as another. Enter them in the first 2 spaces of the backpack box on your adventure sheet before you start. Note that your sword, any clothing, and any money that you are carrying do not count as backpack items. So actually, and this is interesting, I've got a carry limit of 6, and I already got 2 items. So, actually, I'll just do a backpack thing here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6. I should do one with a potion there, so I'll just do like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's my backpack slots here. And potion is 1. And what did it say? The other thing was my provisions is 1 as well. So provisions. Okay, so provisions. So at the moment, I got 2 slots, 2 of my 6 slots in my backpack covered. So this is another thing. So many of these fighting fantasy books, the beginning is just exactly the same, copy and paste. But in this one, it's different. So it's always important to read through the rules, even though it looks the same, just in case there is something different. Anyway, now here we are. Special skills. As well as skill, stamina, and luck, it says, you have 3 special skills on which you have been trained during your apprenticeship with the Thieves Guild. Choose 3 skills from the following list and enter them in the special skill box on your adventure sheet. So it's pickpocket, picklock, climb, sneak, hide, spot hidden, and secret signs. And I get to go pick 3 of these. So that's 7 different ones. So 3 out of 7. So pickpocket, picklock, climb, sneak, hide, and spot hidden, and secret signs. Some of them seem quite obvious, but I don't know, I'm quite drawn to the least obvious one, which is secret signs. I'm gonna do secret signs. I'm gonna do climb. And I'm going to do pick lock. So pick lock, secret signs, and climb are my 3 chosen ones. At various points in your adventure, you will be asked whether or not you have a particular skill. This can be important, so keep a note of those you have and don't pretend to have those you don't. I've been told. Okay. So that will change the dynamic a little bit of how, how I usually go on about how very often it's only the dice rolls that actually make a difference to where you get in a game. But of course, there's also the 2 things you can never cheat with in a game book like this, I think, are skills, special skills, and also items you pick up. And one more thing as well, information that you gather that you are required to have in order to accomplish a certain thing. So you can't cheat with those. So only a path is only valid as long as you have those things when you get there. And of course, once you get to that point, you can't then say that, oh yes, I had this thing this piece of information that I haven't picked up, or unless it's possible to get on the path and you know where to get it, or the item and you know where to get it. And of course the skill as well. Is it possible to get to that point with the skills you have? Or of course, if you then say that, oh, I'm going to pretend to have gone back to the start with different skills and get to this point again, do exactly the same. But then of course that needs to also be possible with the new skills you choose. So that means there's one more element of sort of fixed variable I can call it, to be aware of when I'm sort of doing my creative cheating, which isn't really cheating, it's just saving time from having done the same over again. So just have to make sure now that whenever I use one of these special skills, that I made a really good note of it on my map, so I don't get in a position where I accidentally cheat and pretend to have something I don't, which I do not want to do ever. So unless I get to the point, of course, where it otherwise would be boring. But I think it's important in this one to actually not pretend. It did say in the rules as well, and I do agree it should really be that way. So let's get started. Of course, I do apologize. It took a long time to get started now, but that is because there are several new rules particular to this book. So I had to make sure I got through all of it. So let's go into the background. So how long are we into it now? 18 minutes into the recording session. So yeah, next time I play it will be much faster to get started, I do promise you. Okay. Background. You stand in the meeting room of the Thieves Guild of Port Blacksand. The room is crowded with pickpockets. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Just one more thing, as Columbo used to say. You may notice the sound is a bit different today, and that is because I am using a different sound recorder. Now, the one I usually used to use, which is the Zoom H4n field recorder, I've had some problems with it. The power supply or the plug to it or some of the connection with the plug is not always working. And for any one of you who actually use the Zoom H4n, you will know it's a complete battery hog. So what happens is that the minute the power adapter cuts off, even if it's just a little bit, or sometimes it's for longer periods of time as well, the batteries start being depleted, and they deplete really fast. And so I just decided that maybe it's time to give it a little bit of a rest. I've had it for 15 years. I can still use it, of course, from time to time if I needed to, but I wouldn't use it for something like this anymore. So I bought a new recorder, and I still haven't found perhaps the optimum settings for it. So I do apologize for that. The sound might not be as good. It might actually be better. Who knows? But I don't know. That's the thing. I've tried to do some test recordings, and right now I'm actually technically using it as an audio interface. So it is plugged directly into the computer and records directly into the OBS video stream, which ideally, theoretically, I should say, would be better than the way I recorded before and more efficient for me to edit. But I don't know if it's going to work properly yet, or if there will be any audio issues, etc. It seems to one thing that is different, it seems to, if I make a loud noise, it seems to max out much easier than the other one, so it might be a little bit more sensitive to the loud noises, but we'll see. Anyway, I shall try to avoid using making any loud noises, perhaps this time. We'll see. We'll see if that makes a difference. Okay, no sneezing. No sneezing. Okay, I always edit out the sneezes anyway. Right, sorry, I'm keep rambling on. I know some of you who watch this, you actually quite like the rambling and the asides and stuff, so I hope you don't mind. Anyway, you stand in the meeting room of the Thieves Guild of Port Blacksand. The room is crowded with pickpockets, beggars, burglars, cut purses, and thieves of all descriptions. All come to witness the test of apprentices. Rannik, the master of the guild, stands in the middle of the room. Does any member here present know of any reason why this apprentice should not be tested according to the traditions of the guild? He says. Even though you know this is just a formality, your stomach knots as you wait for a challenge. When no challenge comes, Rannik turns to you. A week ago, he says, a merchant named Brass acquired a gem known as the Eye of the Basilisk. He will doubtless have it hidden somewhere in or around the city. His symbol is a coin. That is all the information you will be given. For your test, you must find and steal the Eye of the Basilisk. Dusk has just fallen outside, and you have until dawn to complete your test. Do you understand? You nod. Then, says Rannik, it just remains for me to say, be careful. Remember your training, and good luck. The assembled guild members murmur their agreement as you leave the meeting room to collect your equipment. Although you have checked it a dozen times already, you go over it all one last time as you make ready to leave the guild. This is actually quite good, because if you skipped the reading of the rules, you might have missed exactly what's going on with the special rules, and this is now a good way for you to actually be reminded in case you missed it. Oh, hang on, maybe I should look at the rules because there's something there. There are a sword, a few coins, a hand lamp, a torch, a tinderbox, some food, a magic potion supplied by the guild, and a backpack. Having satisfied yourself that everything is in order, you leave the Thieves' Guild by one of over a dozen concealed entrances and head into the darkened streets of Port Blacksand. So, not as important to check your pack, I suppose, as if you would, say, doing parachuting or something like that. Right. And this is where we start making a map again. I do like making my maps, I must say. Oh, that's actually one thing. When I finished playing my previous game book, which of course took me a long time, I couldn't find the folder. I used to have a folder, a big folder now, where I keep all my handwritten maps and character sheets and stuff, and I couldn't find it. So it must be somewhere, but I just don't know where it is at the moment. I hope I haven't recycled it by mistake. That would be a bit annoying, because I wanted to do an episode one time just sort of showing you how much paperwork I've accrued while doing these videos. Anyway, number one, there we are, and we are inside the frame of our video. I'm sitting a little bit askew. See if I can move a little bit to this side actually. As you leave the guild, your mind works quickly, listing the places where you might find some information as to the gem's whereabouts. Most of the rich merchants in the town have houses near the field gate. If you can find Brass's house, you may be able to find some useful information there. Then again, the Merchants Guild is just across the market square, and if Brass is an important merchant, he is bound to have a suite of offices there. Finally, there's the Noose, the area of town around the Thieves' Guild. You hardly ever see a merchant there, but it's the best place in Lancia for picking up all kinds of gossip and rumors. Where will you try first? So, 3 options. Let's see, let's put them up on my map. Another thing about this new audio recorder, while I'm drawing my map here, is that I don't know to what extent it might pick up other noises. So that's like the noise of my camera's image stabilization, which is constantly making noises. The central heating, which will come on every now and again because it is cold. It is late autumn now. It's November, and to what extent I need to do editing to prevent those from being intrusive. Now, I am guessing that it's actually going to be better than because for a little while I used the Sony audio recorder, which is more sensitive than the Zoom, and that picked up a lot more outside noise. And I'm not sure about this one, so we'll find out. This will be interesting anyway for me as well to have a new audio recorder. Right, so Merchants Guild, Brass's house, or the Noose. I actually want to start in, I don't know if this is sort of a semi-open world thing where you can go to different locations in different order or something, but in any case, oh, there's a map as well. There are numbers, but they don't seem to. Oh, is there a map legend somewhere with the numbers? Actually, no, it isn't. So I am Market Square, Bridge, Queen's Palace Square, Field Gate. So that's where the merchants are. I'm just going to start in the Noose, actually. See if I can pick up some information that might be useful. Right. As you make your way along the Noose, you think about likely places for picking up information. At the edge of the Noose is a tavern called the Rat, and ferret. No, sorry, not the rat, but the rat and ferret, where thieves, beggars, and all sorts of people come to drink. The news is always filled with beggars at any time of the day or night, and they see and hear all sorts of things. And on one side of the news lives Madame Star, the clairvoyant. She spends her days in the market square telling fortunes, but at this time of night she would be at home. What will you do? Well, if she actually truly is a clairvoyant, then she would be able to tell me where it is. Simples. Okay, so 4 options. So I'm going to put them over here now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 309, 26, 117, or 387. Leave the news, Madame Star, find a beggar, or go to the rat and ferret. Rat and F. I put that. Okay, 309. Try to make it legible, at least to myself. I'm going to visit Madame Star, see if she has any inside info that she can divine from her crystal ball or something. You walk along the noose towards Madame Star's cottage. Your trained eye picks out a number of beggars, pickpockets, and cut purses skulking in the shadows, but no one bothers you. Everyone in the noose knows that you are an apprentice on your test. Finally, you reach a little tumble-down cottage where Madame Star lives. She is a little surprised when she answers the door. Oh, that's not a good sign for a clairvoyant, is it? Oh, I didn't realize I was getting visitors. It sort of makes you doubt their skills a little bit, or it certainly should. But offers to read your future for 2 gold pieces. If you have 2 gold pieces, turn to 280. If not, or if you do not wish to pay, turn to 64. So, if she didn't know that I was coming, I am a little bit skeptical about the value of the information she gives, but I'm willing to give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to pay the 2 gold. Okay, so there we are. So 289 minus 2 gold, or 64. No. So I'm going to go to 289, see what my fortune is. Madame Star takes your money and leads you into her front parlor. I suppose once she's given that might be the thing, though. It might be that her clairvoyance is not triggered until somebody actually pays her, and it's the gold, the touch of the gold, that actually makes her mind see things. So obviously when somebody at the door, she can't know it because you didn't pay her in advance. Madame Star takes your money and leads you into her front parlor, showing you to a chair. She sits on the other side of a small table and gazes deeply into her crystal ball. She tells you that you are looking for something valuable and that it is hidden in a dark place, a place of death. Aha, there's a clue. She says that before you find what you're looking for, you must look in a place of sleep and a place of work. Okay, this is important clues, isn't it? Oh, but it says here this is an important clue. Make a note of the number of this paragraph on your adventure sheet. Okay, so I am going to put here clues and a little circle around it. And of course, in case I need to refer back to it, I'll go there. See, I put it also at the margin there. I like doing that, so it's easier to spot later. So what I'm looking for, so I'll just put here as well a clue. So gem is in a place of death, so like a cemetery, church where there's people buried, place of death. Or place of death could also be where somebody is executed, for instance. But first I need to go to place of sleep, so an inn. And what was the other thing? Place of work. And I was told, wasn't I, that or place of sleep could also be the home of the merchant, but then go to the bedroom. Okay, so it might be I need to go to the merchant's mansion and look in the bedroom, and I need to go to his office, place of work. And in those two places will be the information I need, or the items I need, in order to get to the place of death, and then of course obtain the gem when I get there. Brilliant. So you thank Madame Star for her help and leave her cottage. What will you do next? Go to the Rat and Ferret, look for a beggar, or leave the news and look elsewhere? Now I'm going to leave the news now because I want to go to place of sleep and the place of work. So leave, so let's see, so it's 26, beggar, which is, let's see, 26, or 309, or I can go to 387 and leave. And I think my map's going to look a bit wonky now, because I am guessing that the next two options are indeed these two over here. So I'm going to do like this, a little bit unorthodox to put an arrow on the map that goes actually below the first paragraph, but there you go. And then I'm going to do like so. Okay. So I can either go to Brass's house or to the Merchant's Guild. Brass's house and look for his bedroom. I think that's what I'll do next. So, place of sleep, 156. You set out towards the Field Gate, the area between Palace Street and Field Street. Near Lord Azur's palace is the richest part of town, and you know that you will have to be especially careful there. The city guard is doubly watchful in that part of town, always keen that the people with the money should see them doing their duty. After you have gone a few yards down Thread Street, you see a bobbing light approaching and hear the sound of booted feet. If you have hide skill, turn to 122. If you do not, turn to 293. Okay, so maybe we should make a special note of the ones that require skill. So I'll make that a black box on my map, so it's easier for me to spot later if there is a particular skill that is needed. 1, 2, 2. Hide, and underline that. And then we have 2, 9, 3. Not. Okay, I do not have hide skill, so I'm going to do like this. You dodge into a shadowy doorway and stay very still. The light and the footsteps come closer, and you hardly dare to breathe as a two-man patrol from the city guard approaches. You close your eyes, and I just forgot to remove my gold, so I got 3 gold left. Yeah, okay. Two-man patrol from the city guard approaches. You close your eyes and hope that they will go past without noticing you, but suddenly the light is shining straight into your face. Well now, what are we at? Says a gruff voice. Come out of there and state your business. What will you do now? Try to escape through the door behind you, try to bribe the patrol, make a break for it, or attack the patrol. All of which sound like terrible ideas in their own right. So, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 different options. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, 2, 2, 4, attack. Attacking a patrol, that will cause a lot of ruckus, and surely other patrols will follow. It seemed a bit unlikely that's a good idea. Escaping through the door behind me sounds like a very adventurous idea that I can quite... so That might work. Bribe. I only got 3 gold though. It doesn't sound like that's enough to bribe them, really. Well, I haven't done anything illegal. I'm just loitering, which might be illegal, by the way. So, I mean, and draconian law, of course, the word draconian is from the actual guy called Draco, who invented these laws in, I'm not sure, was that Rome or Greece? I can't remember. I think it was Rome. And of course, basically everything had a death penalty, and one of the crimes you could be that was punishable by death was loitering. So there you go. Let's see, 97, run, and 149. Now there's some obvious options missing here. You are in an area of town where you probably shouldn't be, but they are not really to know that. There's a really obvious option, which is to try to talk your way out of it. I mean, in a normal real world situation, you don't first think to, before you try to talk your way out of it, you wouldn't attack them or run for it or try to escape in any other way through a door or bribe them. You would first say that I'm here on business, I'm delivering a message, I'm something. There's so many things you can, sort of excuses you can make up. I'm working for such and such. So yeah, you don't have a big sign saying I'm a thief trying to steal gems kind of thing on you, in which case you don't only have these options left. But no, well, I don't know. So option missing. Anyway, I'm going to try to escape through the door behind me because I think that sounds the most exciting. 149. Trying not to let the guardsman see what you're doing, you reach behind you and feel along the door until you find the doorknob. Test your luck. 9. I am lucky. Let's see. And I'll just put that luck. And my luck goes down to 10. Yeah, I'll just put my starting abilities now in just in pen, may as well. Okay. If you are lucky, turn to 135. Okay. One, 3, 5. Lucky. If you're unlucky, turn to 347. 347, unlucky. Okay, so 135, I am lucky. Right. The door opens and you stagger back into the darkness, throwing the door shut and bolting it behind you. Lean against the door, trying to catch your breath. But the pounding on the door reminds you that the bolt won't hold forever. You need to find some way out. The guardsman hammering on the door must have woken the house's owner, for you can hear someone stirring upstairs. You hurry to a window on the other side of the room and climb out. By the time the guardsmen get into the house, he will be long gone. Turn to 177, but now in a completely different place than I was earlier. Let's see, 177, okay. That seems, oh, that was the wrong place. So we got 177, okay. You make your way along Thread Street to the field gate, keeping to the shadows. You never know when you might meet another patrol. After a while, you come to the corner of Short Street and Field Street, where you see 2 houses. The one on the right is an impressive 2-story stone building, and you see the symbol of a coin cut into the doorpost, so that's where I'm going. The house on the left is smaller, half-timbered, and has a symbol of an oar on a painted sign over the door. One of these is the House of Brass, the merchant. Do you know which one? So this is sort of a little quiz there to see if you paid attention when you read the rules, or again, if you actually didn't read the beginning, okay, properly, or if you just skip through really quickly because you just want to get to the battles or something. So not a very difficult quiz in this case. So it is brass or ore, and I presume that if you go into the wrong house now, something bad will happen, because if you go into the house and say, oh, this isn't the right house, and then you go into the right house afterwards, then there's no peril as that. You need the peril. Okay, so the one on the right has the symbol of a coin, and that is 384. And one on the left is, okay, so that's ore and coin. So I'm going to go into the house with the symbol of the coin, which is the right one, the one on the right, I should say, and the right one, and paragraph 384. Right. You look all round this two-story house for possible entrances. Oops. There is no back door, but you find two possible ways in. A front door, which is locked, and a drain pipe, which leads up to 3 windows on the upper floor. So you need to climb or pick lock. I have both, which means I might have the option now. If you have pick lock skill, you may try to open the front door. If you decide to climb the drain pipe, turn to 108. That might still require a skill check or something, which we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how that works yet. So pick lock skill, front door. So I'm going to put that in black. Climb the drain pipe. It doesn't say yet that it needs a climb skill. So at the moment I'm using that in blue. If you don't wish to do either, you can make your way back to the market square and visit the Merchant's Guild, provided that you haven't done so already, by turning to 129. So that is also an option. And I just see that I put all this in the wrong place because, right, it was supposed to be on my map at 156 there as a starting point. I'm going to have to redo the numbers here. So this is then 129 merch and 150. What was it? 56. Hang on. 156, yeah. Brass. Okay. So there's also an option then for going back to check out the market square or the merchants. Yes, merchants quarters. Right. So that is the pick lock, which is 276 pick. But I'm thinking maybe if I go up the drain pipe, I'll actually already be closer to where I'm supposed to go, which is the bedroom, my theory, which, as you know, should be upstairs. 108. Climb. Okay, so I'm gonna climb upstairs to see if that works. After first checking to make sure that the coast is clear, you begin to climb the drain pipe. It's an easy climb, so it doesn't matter if you don't have climb skill. Okay, so actually picking the front door is actually the harder thing to do, and maybe the most advantageous because it's harder? I don't know. But this one can also be done with test luck. So if it doesn't matter if you don't have climb skill, test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 238 if you're unlucky. Well, hang on. But if you have climb skill, then you shouldn't need to test luck. I'm feeling unfairly treated here, so I'm going to ignore the luck test. Because I think this was actually meant, this is actually worded in the wrong way. I think it's because it says you begin to climb the great pipe. It's an easy climb, so it doesn't matter if you don't have climb skill. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 238. So, unless the luck has something to do with something besides the actual climbing, which is fair enough. Yeah, that's also possible. I will concede that. So it's maybe to do with whether you're being noticed or not. Okay, so a luck test it is. And this is why taking a potion of fortune is often the best choice. So 6, and I am lucky. So lock, and let's see. So lucky is 238. Yeah. So that's lucky. Lucky. Okay, 238. You climb rapidly and reach the level of the first floor windows in less than a minute. The first thing you notice is that all the windows are covered by stout iron grills to prevent thieves like you breaking in. Even though there's no way in, you can still get some idea of the layout of the upper floor of the house. In front of you there is a window looking onto a landing. You can see 2 doors on your left and 1 on your right, and 1 more at the far end of the landing. A window on your left looks into a small bedroom, belonging to a young girl, if the dolls on the floor are anything to go by. Finally, a window on your right looks into a larger bedroom, dominated by a huge 4-poster bed, where a middle-aged couple lie sleeping. You climb carefully back down to the alley below and head to the front door. Okay, so actually this might be give me some information as to what I need to do once I get into the house, which might still be useful. So you climb carefully back down to the alley below and head for the front door, which is the only way into the building. So it looks like pick lock is pretty much a mandatory skill to have to solve the game. So it seems that is what I call a certain thing. So that is I'm going to make a note of pick lock and always pick lock when I start this game. Seems to be possible. That's the way to go. It's such a basic thing for a thief, isn't it? I mean, if you want to be a professional thief, you need to know how to pick locks. There you go. So you climb carefully back down to the alley below and head for the front door, which is the only way into the building. If you have pick lock skill, you can open the door and turn to 276. Okay, so 276. If you don't have the skill, you can can't get into the house. In that case, you have 2 options. You can look for information at the Merchant's Guild. If you haven't been there before, turn to 129. So again, you can go to the Merchant's Guild. Or you can try to find the Eye of the Basilisk using only the information that you have gained so far. Huh. Is that even an option? That is a bit weird. That should be an option. I don't think I have enough information to do that. I don't feel I have enough information, so it would be too easy if when you do that you'd be given options that actually allowed you to. I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to guess completely from a list of options and then you get it right, and then you would sort of, would that be it? Would that be the end of the adventure? That wouldn't be fun at all, would it? I'm not even going to go there. So I'm going to pick the lock, open the door, go to 276. Oh, and I must remember to reduce my lock from having been used down to 9. Okay. You work quickly on the lock, and after a few seconds there is a satisfying click and the door swings open. You step inside, closing the door softly behind you, and find yourself in an impressive marble-floored hallway. A stairway on the left leads up to a balustraded landing, and a suit of armor stands against the stairs. Beneath the landing is another door. If your experience and training are anything to go by, this door will lead you to the servants' quarters. What will you do? Well, I want to go to a place of sleep. Now, this could be the place of sleep for servants, but most likely I would imagine that the information that I need to get to the Eye of the Basilisk is to be found in the master bedroom. It makes the most sense. It's where Brass sleeps. The suit of armor is interesting, but examining a suit of armor is something that can lead to a suit of armor falling over and causing a lot of noise. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to go up the stairs. And let's see, but I'm first going to have to put up my options here. So that's 1, 2, 3 options. Suit of armor 62, 47, and 368. So upstairs. And also it makes sense that it is upstairs now, because when you were climbing up, going to all that effort, there must be a reason why you were given that information. These are clues as to what you're supposed to do next and where you're supposed to go, I think. So far I'm quite liking how this book is actually seeming at the moment to leave you these little clues, because that's the kind of stuff I really like about Steve Jackson's books, how you're not just wandering around aimlessly and picking choices blindly because you have no indication of what's correct or not, and one might be certain death, the other might be victory. Yes, Ian Livingstone books. So I quite like how you're actually given information that is relevant to what happens in the future, and in the future part of the narrative, which is what you want in a good game book. So armor, stairs, and let's see, so that is servants' quarters, servant, or upstairs. So I'm going to go upstairs. You step quietly up the stairs and onto the balcony. There is a door immediately on your left and a balcony. Wouldn't it be a gallery? Anyway, you're not outside, are you? So yeah, it would be a landing or a gallery, but yes. Anyway, there is a door immediately on your left and a short landing leads off the balcony on your right. 3 doors open onto the landing. Try the door on the left. Turn to 321 if you investigate the doors on the landing. Turn to 45. So let's move a little bit up here. Leave a little bit of space for other mapping in the future. So 45 and 321 left or landing. Now, just to recap what I saw when I was climbing upstairs. So, okay. So there's a window looking onto a landing. So there's 2 doors on your left and 1 on your right, and 1 more at the far end of the landing. Okay. A window on your left looks into a small bedroom belonging to a young girl. A window on your right looks into a larger bedroom. So it sounds like the room I want is the one that's the furthest on the landing, the one that is the furthest to the right. So the furthest away from the stairs. Based on this information. Two doors on your left and 1 on your right, yeah. And 1 more at the far end of the landing. Ah, yes, okay, so the one at the far end of the landing should be the one that's on the left when I go up the stairs, I think. So yes, I'm gonna examine the landing 45, see what options I get there. Okay. You start along the balcony towards the landing at the far end, but you haven't gone more than a step or 2 when one of the doors, the first on the right, opens. You stop dead. A white-clad figure comes silently out of the room and begins to cross the balcony towards you. It appears to be a young man in a white robe. What will you do? Maybe hiding would have been a good thing in this one. Okay, so I got now 3 options. Okay, so 215 hide, 110 leave, or attack. So leaving out of the question, attacking out of the question. I'm a thief, not a murderer, so that means I have to hide, basically. You flatten yourself against the wooden railing of the balcony and stay very still. The figure gives no sign of having seen you and walks past, the hem of his robe brushing your face. He goes to the end of the landing, turns round, and goes back into the room he came out of, the first on the right. Add 1 luck point for not panicking. Nice! Okay, so +1 luck. Okay, and that means that is part of the correct path. And I'm back up to 10 luck points. Brilliant. If you had done anything to waken the sleepwalker, his screams could have woken the whole house. You wait for a couple of minutes to give him time to get back into bed and settle into deep sleep, and then you creep across the balcony. Turn to 325. So 325. You cross the balcony to the landing. 3 doors lead off the landing, 1 on the left and 2 on the right. At the end of the landing is a barred window, so that's the one I looked into before. The bars are set into the brick of the windowsill and cannot be moved. You decide to listen at one of the doors. Which one? The door on the left, the first door on the right, or the second door on the right? So it was the one on the left that was a master bedroom. I think I'll just double check that now just to be sure. That is the one I want. So on the right, so that is so the sleepwalker came from one of the rooms on the right. So there's so that's the son, and then of course there's the daughter. We've seen that in the other room, and then the master bedroom on the left. So that makes sense. Okay, so 3 options. But then again, that might not be the best. I mean, it might still be that going into one of the other rooms first might be advantageous, but because we were given the clue as to where the master bedroom was, I'm thinking maybe that's where I'm wanting to go first. Yeah. So 277 left, 70 first right, and 76 second right. So I'm going to listen to the door on the left, 277. You listen carefully at the door and hear loud snoring coming from within. You try the door and finding that it is unlocked, slip inside. If you have sneak skill, turn to 396. If you do not, turn to 138. So at the moment it looks like pick lock and sneak perhaps are the best ones, but we'll see. At least it seems that it's not possible to get in here without picklock. So that, at the moment, that is the only one that is obviously completely mandatory, as it were. That's something I need to do. Okay, so I'm going to put black there. That is the sneak skill, 396. Sneak. Okay. And then we have 138, no sneak skill. Okay, so 138. No, okay, 138. Hopefully we'll be able to do a test of luck or something. You creep into the darkened room, but after a couple of paces, the floorboard creaks loudly under your feet. In the darkness, the snoring stops. What will you do? Back quietly out of the room, stay still, or carry on into the room. Now, staying still is the obvious thing to do in this case. So I'm going to stay completely still. So 315, 193, or 261. So still, leave, carry on. Could be still, 193. Hardly daring to breathe, you freeze, willing yourself to melt into the shadows. If you don't have hide skill, turn to 261. If you do have hide skill, after a few seconds, they seem like hours. The snoring starts again. You carry on carefully into the room. Turn to 396. Again, hide seems to be important. So, there's two options. One requires hide, the other one is non-hide. Let's see. So there we are. So that's hide skill in 396. Hide or 261. No. Okay, so if this doesn't work, I know that I need hide skill. Brass wakes up abruptly, sits bolt upright and yells, "Help! Thief!" at the top of his voice. You have no choice but to run out of the bedroom and get out of the house before he wakes everybody. You don't fancy having to explain this to the city guard. You hurry back to the market square, planning your next move. It's too dangerous to go back to Brass's house, so you will have to do without any information that you could have gained from there. That leaves you two options. Either you can go to the Merchant's Guild, if you haven't already done so, or you can hope that you have enough information to find the Eye of the Basilisk and set out in search of it. Turn to 144. So at 144 seems to be kind of a catch-all paragraph for the end of, or sort of certainly the first part, the information gathering part. Oh, it's getting a bit sunny now. Hope it doesn't get too bright. Hang on, I'll just do the blinds a little bit. So that's better. Okay. So, so now I can go to 129 again down here. I'll just do that on my map like so. And 144, where did I put 144? Okay, so that's a different kind of paragraph. Behaves a little bit differently. I'm just going to do a double square around it and also go like so. Okay. I haven't gained any new information at the moment about the Eye of the Basilisk, but obviously this indicates to me that of course you can do these in any order. So once you've sort of got to the last bit of information you need, whether you do the place of work first or his house first, then of course then that's where you go. But I seem to have failed in finding information. If obviously the clairvoyant is correct, which I think she is, it's meant to be a clue that's left for you there to help you. I've failed in finding the information or the item that I needed here to get the Eye of the Basilisk. I'm going to be sitting right next to the Eye of the Basilisk and I won't be able to get it because I don't have the key or something like that, which looking at the picture here looks like he's got it around his neck. Anyway, so, but I'm not given the option of just giving up yet, so I'm going to go to Merchant Square and of course see that part of the adventure, so that if this turns out to be the correct path but only needed hide to make a difference, it seems to me, I'm going to put a little bracket there and say hide seems to be that hide and picklock at the moment seem to be things that one actually needs to solve this. So I've learned a lot in that sense. So I'm going to go to 129 to Merchants Guild at Market Square and see if I can get find information that is required from that section of the city. And let's double check. I'm in focus, aren't I? Yes. Just bear with me just a few seconds. I'm using my mobile phone now as my remote control for my camera, which is very useful. Except that I have lost connection to it. I don't want to try to reconnect because then it might suddenly cut off. So it looks okay. but that means I can't make any changes right now to the settings, which is all right. That means I can't change focus, but it looks like I'm in the right place. Okay, sorry about that. Right, so the Merchants Guild is on the south side of the market square, opposite the noose. The square is quiet now. All the market stalls have been packed away, and you see no one as you make your way across. You keep to the edge of the square, hugging the shadows. The last thing you want is to be stopped and questioned by the city guard, tonight of all nights. Why? I mean, you're not carrying any contraband or anything illegal, any stolen goods. You're just a normal citizen after an evening walk because you couldn't sleep. When you're about halfway across, you suddenly notice a movement among a clump of trees in the middle of the square. If you decide to investigate the movement, turn to 75. If you prefer to ignore it and carry on towards the Merchants Guild, turn to 246. Okay, so 2 options. Okay, so that's 75 investigate, or 246 carry on. I'm going to investigate the movement in this case. You approach the trees carefully, your eyes fixed on the place where you last saw movement. As you draw closer, you can see movement again. There is definitely something in there, but it's too dark to see quite what it is. Turn to 358 if you have sneak skill, 127 if you don't, or you can decide not to investigate further and head straight for the Merchants Guild, avoiding the trees. So, options. Oh, one of them is supposed to be black now because that is the one that requires a particular skill. Plus this one. So 358. Sneak or $127. Not. So should I go in there if I don't have sneak skill? Could that cause problems? I'm going to skip it for now and go to the Merchants Guild. Across the square to the Merchants Guild, it is an imposing building, built in stone and several stories high. Facing onto the square is the great main door, set into a deep doorway and made, so you have heard, of hardwood imported from the far south, even beyond the Desert of Skulls. Ooh. That's how to show off how wealthy you are. From the shadows, you can see that the door is closed. It is manned by a single armed guard, who does not appear to have noticed you. What would he do? Hide and watch the guard, try to bribe the guard, or look for another way in. So I'm going to move my options up here, I think. Okay. So there's 74. Hide, 345. Bribe, or 210. Another way. I'm going to look for another way in, actually. So 210. Look for another way in. You follow the alley along one side of the Merchants Guild. After a few yards, it turns right sharply. And a few feet after that, you see an even narrower alley running off to your left, coming to a dead end after a few yards, with a door on the left and a drain pipe leading up past the window to the roof. If you go down the alley to your left, turn to 80. If you carry on round the building, turn to 271. So, okay, 271, or so 271 round 80 alley. So I'm going to go up the alley and see if there's a way in for me there. You walk stealthily down the side alley, which appears to be deserted. Well, you open the door, turn to 159, or climb the drain pipe, or leave and continue walking around the building. Okay, so we have okay, 3 options like so. So 2, 2, 5, climb, or 159 door. I want to be able to use climbing, so I'm going to do the climb thing, 225. You start to climb the drain pipe. You do not need climb skill. What's the point of the climb skill? I'm always trying to climb things and I don't even need the skill for it. You start to climb the drain pipe. You do not need climb skill or a rope and grapnel because the drain pipe is an easy climb. So basically, if I want to climb something without a drain pipe, it sounds like that's when I really need it. Anyway, you climb to the window but find it securely barred, so you decide to carry on to the roof. Suddenly, you hear a slight grating sound above you. You look up to see that one of the decorative gargoyles on the roof of the Merchants Guild has come to life. It launches itself off its perch and flies down to attack you. And you prepare to defend yourself as best you can. Deduct 3 from your attack strength because you are clinging to the drain pipe. Okay, that doesn't sound like a very good option in that case. So basically, if you win the first round of combat, turn to 319. If the gargoyle wins, lose 2 stamina points and roll 2 dice. The result is equal to your skill score or less, turn to 365. You not turn to 389. Okay, that's quite a lot of stuff going on. That's the first round of combat. Okay. So, because I deduct 3 from my attack strength, that means the gargoyle has an effective fighting skill, just to compare numbers, of course, of 12. So I'm going to put it down as 1210 on my map. 1210. And then we have 3 things that can happen, depending on what happens now on the first combat round. So it's 319 if I win the first combat round. Okay. And then it's a skill test, 365, and this has to do with falling down, I'm sure, 389. Okay, so equal to skill, so that is skill test, skill, fail, win, round. Okay. So, I've got a skill of 11. He's got an effective fighting skill now of 12 because I've got a disadvantage. So he's got 1 advantage on the dice. So I'm rolling for him first. And he rolls 11, which means I need to roll the 12 and have to break even. So, okay, so he won the first round of combat, which means I'm down to, let's see, there's 20 stamina. And he's got 10 stamina. Okay, let's put that up down there. But then I have to do a skill test against 11, and I do that successfully. And then I go to 365. The force of the gargoyle's blow nearly knocks you off the drain pipe, but you hold on for dear life. Will you keep fighting, turn back to 225 and fight another round, or will you try some other approach, turn to 73? So fighting this doesn't seem like a very good proposition. So I'm going to see what other options I have and go to 73. You realize that you can't harm the gargoyle without a magical weapon, but there may be another way of dealing with it. Do you have a rope and grapnel, a black hooded cloak, or a length of heavy chain? I don't have any of those things, do I? Because that's not part of my starting kit, and I haven't found any new items. So, let's see, I'm going to put up... Oh. And this paragraph is broken because it doesn't tell you that if you don't have any of those things, then you go back to 225 and keep fighting. Or Okay, actually, this doesn't. There's a flaw in the book here because this doesn't give you any options for not having any of these things. And basically now, of course, I'll just be stuck in the loop fighting this until I fall down or get killed in combat. What happens if you win a round? It's a big question. So maybe I have to, okay, so I'll just have to presume now that if I don't have any of those things, I'm just going to have to go back to 225, keep fighting, and then a win a round is the option is to see what happens if I win a round or if I fall down. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to put up the options here for those three things that may or may not help in this case. So 125, 263, or 340. So chain, cloak, and grapple. So I'm going to go back to, I presume that there's going to go back to 225 is, and then make another combat roll. So he rolls, ooh, snake eyes. Okay, he's got 3. I still need to roll 3 or better though. And I did. Okay, so I win a round. And then I go to 319 and see what it says there. With a stony clink, your weapon bounces harmlessly off the gargoyle's magical hide. What will you do now? Use a magical weapon, try some other means, or keep fending it off and hope for the best. So, which means that I 319, magical weapon, which I do not have, 158, or, which is the only option left to me, is keep fending it off and hope for the best. 389. Oh, hang on. I already have 389 on my map. That is the same as failing a skill roll when he hits you, which means that I am now, because I don't have any of those items and because I don't have a magical weapon, I am stuck in a loop where I will inevitably fall down or die. Now, is it possible that falling down will not kill you? That's the big question. If that is the case, then that is the only way out of this battle that will lead to me surviving. So, and that's the other means. So I'm going to just see what happens if you fail your... Oh, hang on. No, 389. That's when you fail your skill test. Okay, so that's the... Keep fending it off and hope for the best is when you fall down. Okay, so that means that I'm just going to go to 389 now and fall down and see what happens. A stony claw rips your shoulder open. You are torn from the drain pipe and plummet to the alley below. Lose 3 stamina points. If you're still alive, turn to 48 if you have hide skill. Turn to 48 if you have high skill, 175 if you do not. Okay, so this is quite this is how the battle ends. So we have 389 and then it is -3 stamina. So I'm down to 17. And then I've got 2 options, which is 48 with hide skill. I'm going to have to move this somewhere else now, I think. Over here, maybe. So if I do that here, actually, I'll use that one as well, maybe. Let's move that arrow there. So then we got hide skill is 48. Hide or 175, 175. Not okay. So I do not have hide skill still. It seems like a good thing to have. 175. Taloned feet slam into your back and you are lifted into the air. The gargoyle carries you to its rooftop lair and your heart sinks as you see bones glinting in the moonlight. You struggle in vain. The talons hold you fast. Your test ends here as a meal for a gargoyle, which is quite a good ending, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is the end of my first session, and that was quite an exciting game, I think. So what I really like about this book is that it gives you that sort of proper stealth experience. You're not just barging through doors and just attacking anything in sight. You're trying to primarily try to be undetected, so sneaking, hiding, that sort of thing. I quite like that, which also adds a bit of tension to the book, because it's sort of you trying not to be discovered, even though you have lots of skill and you could fight. The thing is, once you fight, you create a ruckus, then you can lead to other problems, which is an aspect that is often missing from other fighting fantasy books. So and this battle with a gargoyle obviously is something that you shouldn't be choosing to do unless you have a magical weapon. Was quite elaborate with all the falling down and the choice of using a magical weapon or other things. It's quite a nice way to organize a battle, I think, to have a combination of dice rolls and options, even though I didn't actually have any of the things I needed to make a difference. So, but generally it sounds like something I should not even be doing there is climbing up, because I don't think that's going to be correct choice or an optimum choice in any way, shape or form for winning this game, because it is such a hard battle to start with. You are very unlikely to actually be successful. So and the only way you can sort of get away from it is to have some special item or a magical item or hide skill, and you still take damage and injury from it. So I'm thinking that if this is the right place to go and to get into the merchant guild, it is the door that is going to be the right place to go. And I do have picklock, so that's going to be a good one to have. So at the moment, it looks like picklock and hide are two mandatory skills to have. And yeah, maybe I should just change back now to this view. Okay, so it looks like picklock and hide are two mandatory skills, and it will be exciting to see what happens next. So next time I'm going to try again. I'm going to start from the beginning, and I will go with picklock and hide. I'm going to have to remove maybe climb from my skill set, and I will do pretty much the same kind of thing, and of course having hide, I will be able to do more in Brass's bedroom than I was this time, and maybe find out what's there, whether it's a key or some other clue in addition to it. And then I will go to the Merchant's Guild again and see if I can get through the door possibly. So yeah, exciting stuff. I'm quite liking this actually. Concept narrative. It's not too dense a narrative as Phantoms of Fear was, but yeah, it's some different things about it that makes it stand out from the other fighting fantasy titles, and also that makes it a little bit exciting. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed playing that, and I'm going to enjoy playing it again very soon. So until then, goodbye. Bye-bye.